Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining our Dealer Onboarding Success Webinar. My name is Alicia Bolin, and I am the Product Experience Coordinator here at Authenticom. To give a little background on myself, I've been a member of the Authenticom team since 2013. I worked mostly in the client services department over the years, so initially started working with dealerships, getting integrated with their DMS, making sure data remained flowing, those types of things. Then over time, I graduated to managing vendor accounts, which included training them on the portal, making sure they had the tools and education that they needed to be successful when utilizing our DealerVault platform, and addressing their inquiries and providing support as needed. I also spent about a year in the technology department as a technical engineer, so working on back-end processes and, to put it simply, troubleshooting and fixing broken things. So I guess you could say I've dabbled in quite a few areas, but ultimately I ended up in the product department. My current role has a focus on internal and external user experience of our products and a touch of marketing. But enough about me, let's get to the good stuff. Today I will be giving you what I hope to be beneficial tips, tricks, and best practices to help you onboard your dealers and help expedite that setup process. We're going to cover topics regarding the initial conversation that you're having with your dealers, where you can find helpful information for your team to utilize or to provide to your dealers if necessary, and then how to stay updated on your orders and follow them through to completion. I have put together a little presentation that I will be utilizing throughout the conversation. I will also be showing you some resources and when it's important to utilize them. So let's get started. First, we're going to talk about explaining the relationship. So who is Authenticom and what role do we play in your dealer setup? This is probably the most important question that needs to be answered before we even begin reaching out to your dealers. So letting them know Authenticom is your chosen third-party data solution provider. Not only does it promote cooperation and help facilitate a quick turnaround on the order, that expectation is set that we're going to be reaching out and that we play a vital role in that data acquisition process. I can't tell you how many times over the years that I personally was working with a dealership and working to get integrated with their DMS that the dealer had no idea who we were or why we were reaching out. So it creates a lot of pushback. You get a lot of who are you? What does DealerVault do? What do you have to do with vendor XYZ? It can get messy, and we have no issues explaining to the dealer who we are and what we do. We have documentation we can provide them. We can provide them with a demo of our portal. But it helps when the dealers hear it from you first so they don't feel as blindsided when we begin reaching out. Sometimes not letting them know of our involvement can cause mistrust and confusion. They're confused about what we want from them. They have trust issues because this wasn't explained to them when they signed up. And inviting a feeling of insecurity when it comes to a dealership's data can lead to a major delay in setup or even cancellation in some cases. If you ever need help explaining to your dealer who we are or what we do, we've got some great documents in the Knowledge Hub that you can give your dealers. So I'm going to show you the Knowledge Hub quick. This is located in our Zendesk portal. As you can see, we have our recently released, our getting started. So if you're a brand new vendor or if you just started working for a vendor, these are great resources that you'll need to know right out the gate. If you have issues with the vendor portal, we have a lot of articles outlining the different pages in there, how you can get support, dealer resources, and of course, frequently asked questions. So coming here and utilizing these will help you a lot when getting to know our products and how you can get the most out of them. The first guide I wanted to show you is our Dealer Quick Facts. So this is a perfect one-pager that explains what we mean for the dealership. So it tells them what DealerVault is, what the benefits of using us are, some of the technology that we use. So showing them this can kind of give them a brief explanation if they're having any questions. We also have our relationship one-pager that shows where DealerVault kind of lies in the setup process. So it starts with them signing up with a vendor programmer service, that vendor reaching out to DealerVault to obtain that data, us reaching out to the dealership to get them set up, and ultimately configuring their data into the DealerVault platform where they can provide their data to whichever vendor that they see fit. Moving on. We're going to go over some questions that you can ask your dealers ahead of time whenever you're there signing them up. The number one question, are you already set up on DealerVault? So if a dealer is already set up and they can log in and add that feed, that's going to be a really quick turnaround and render the need to submit an order unnecessary. And just to show you how easy it is for a dealer to add a feed, I'm going to show you the dealer portal. So when they log in, this is going to be the first screen they see. And you want to verify that it's the correct store because dealerships do have the option to have their entire group set up on DealerVault. So once that store is verified, they just click Add Feed here. They're going to select the vendor they wish to send data to, select the file types they wish to send. If they want to see what fields are going to be sent to that vendor, they can click that here. If they want to apply a filter, or if they want to add it to multiple stores, that is also available. By clicking stores, it will show a list of all of the stores set up in their group, and they can add all stores or specific stores instead of having to individually go into each store and add that. So they can do it all right here. Once they have that, they can click submit, and the feeds will go into their pending. It'll let them know that it's waiting on the vendor to supply an ID, and if samples are needed, they also need to review and approve those before the feed can be initiated. So it's really that simple. If a dealership knows they can log in and is aware of how to add a feed, they can do it in a matter of seconds, and you don't even need to submit an order for us. Next, have you switched DMS providers in the last few years? DealerVault attempts to obtain up to 7 years of historical on the initial install. So if the dealership switched their DMS in the last 7 years, we might not be able to retrieve that data from their previous DMS. So the historical will only span back as far as when they started utilizing their current DMS. If you're a vendor that needs a specific amount of historical data, this will affect you, and it's good to know right out of the gate if the data you need is available or not. How long has your dealership been established? Again, this is another question to determine how far back that data is going to go. If you're a vendor that needs historical data, we're only going to be able to obtain data back to when the dealership opened. So again, it's good to know this before the order is placed. So when that integration is complete and you get that historical, you aren't questioning why data only goes back X amount of years when you needed a full historical. And lastly, who manages your DMS system? This person's going to be a good contact for our team to work with to integrate with their DMS. It may not be the person that you're working with when you close the deal, but being upfront with your contact and letting them know that we're going to need to work with someone to obtain data for your program encourages that transparency and will expedite the order if we're working with the correct contact that's familiar with navigating their system. So setting expectations. Setting proper expectations with your dealer on what to expect can help tremendously during the setup process. So let your dealers know that an email is going to be sent with the next steps outlined, and we'll go more into detail with the next steps in just a moment. We have a next steps one-pager, and it gives a brief overview of what the next steps are in case a dealer wanted to know what that process looks like. So the document gives a visual of the steps that we take once the order is placed. So first we run it through our match process to determine if it is an existing dealer or a new dealer. We send 3 notifications over a 5-day period, starting with the day that the order is placed. If we don't receive a response from the dealer after those 3 contact attempts, we do escalate it to the vendor and request their assistance in getting the dealer to move forward. If they are already established on DealerVault, feed approval will be requested from the dealership admin. And this may not be the person that you're working with, but your contact that you submit with the order will still receive a notification regarding the request and what action needs to be taken. They just won't be able to actually approve the feed. If they need to be added as an admin, they can be, and then once they're added, they will be able to approve the feed, but we need to get approval from the current admin before we can give them that authorization. So I wanted to go through how simple it is for DVGo and how easy it is for them to do that sign up. So if you go to the Knowledge Hub and in our Resource Center, which is also where you can find all of the guides that I'm showing you today, there is a DVGo prototype. And this gives you a firsthand look of what the dealerships go through. So they're going to sign up as a new user because they're a brand new dealership and create their login. So once they've done that and agree to the terms of service, they're going to get a verification email just to ensure that it is them. Once they get their account verification email, they'll click Confirm My Account, which will reroute them back to DVGo and let them know that they've successfully verified their email. Now they are able to log in, and they will first be brought to the profile settings, which the person who is going through this, that we're collecting their information, they're going to be the admin moving forward. So they're going to be the ones that manages the account for their dealership or dealer group moving forward with any requests that we send them. So we collect their basic information, name, number, their position. The manufacturer code is not required, so if they don't know that, that's totally fine. And then any additional information they want us to know, they can enter that here. After the profile is complete, we will start collecting the information on their group. If they don't have a group, they can just enter their store name here, which will then bring them to adding the stores that they would like to add. So store name and the location. Once they do this, they will search it against the Google database, which is what we use. We utilize Google Place ID when we run our match processes. So they can choose to go with Google suggested, or if they want to keep it how they entered, that's fine as well. Here they will be requested to add another store if they'd like, or they can just add this and continue the setup. Next is going to be the vendor selection tab. This is where they're going to select all of the vendors that they would like to send their data to. So they got an email for yours, then it will automatically pop up here that an order has been submitted. Would you like to add them as a vendor? So they wouldn't even have to search for you. They'll find their vendor, click Save, and continue their setup. The Data Management tab is where we're going to collect data regarding their DMS. So they'll find their list, or they'll find their DMS in the list provided here. Once they find that, they can click Save, and we are going to provide them with any documentation or forms that need to be signed based on the selection. So with this specific selection AutoSoft, they need to sign a form, which DocuSign is integrated with DVGo, so they can sign it right here in the platform. So then they'll be brought to this form where they will agree and enter any information that's needed here. So whether it's an ID, dealership name, some of it will be pre-populated for them. And at the bottom is where they will click to sign their form, type in their name, and finish. They will get a verification email, and in case they need that for them records. So this is what that verification email will look like. And next we will move on to file type selection. Here is where they will select which file types they want to set up on DealerVault. Once they have their file types selected, then the order will be sent to our team and we will begin that integration setup. If we have everything we need, so if they sign the documents or provide us with any information we need, that's all incorporated in the ticket that we receive. So in this case, we would be able to just send that signed form straight to AutoSoft and begin establishing that feed. So encouraging them to provide as much information here as possible will help expedite your order tremendously. We also have our DVGo guide. It goes over what DVGo is, what the benefits of it are, and then we'll also give them a guided walkthrough of how to complete DVGo. this can be a useful tool if they need additional help with DVGo. We also have our DMS data integration that will show the steps after they complete the DVGo. So they complete DVGo, we begin collecting their data and we review it and check the quality of it and configure it into our DealerVault platform, at which point they can then begin adding feeds and controlling and managing their data as they see fit and delivering to their vendors. So if they wanted to know what the steps after that DVGo, that can be a great one-pager to show them and give them that peace of mind that they are in control of everything that happens throughout the setup process. And lastly, the utilization of DealerVault is free for dealers. Often a new dealer will think there is a fee associated with using DealerVault or that we're trying to sell them something, so they might ignore our outreaches and that can delay the setup. So it's important to let them know that there's no additional cost coming from DealerVault for the utilization of our platform. Next is the feed request notifications and what they can expect. As I mentioned before, the dealer will receive an email that's going to outline what they need to do to get set up. So essentially, there are about 4 different outcomes, and there are links in the emails for whatever action they need to take. So just to give you a little preview of what it looks like when they receive the feed request, we do have a Knowledge Hub article. This is our vendor order process article. And for a matched order, as you can see, we list the vendor name, what file types, which store, and they have the option to approve or decline. We also include in all of our emails who else from the dealership received this notification. And of course, if they have any questions in regards to the vendor setup, we also provide your information here. For a partial match, this is for if you need multiple file types and the dealership only has some of them set up. So if there's a situation where you need sales and service and that dealership only has sales set up on DealerVault, we will ask them to approve or decline the feed that is already set up and send them to DVGo to set up any additional file types that your program requires. Next is a match with lagging data. Again, it's going to tell you which vendor, what file types, and for which store. Now, for lagging data, we do give them the option to schedule an appointment with our team. And this is really helpful, not only for the dealership, but for our team, because that time is set aside, the dealer is engaged at that time, and we can give them a call whenever they're ready to proceed, and we can get that data caught up. They will also be asked to approve or decline right there in the feed. So when that data gets updated, it'll automatically initiate the feed. And of course, the no match. So this is for a brand new dealership that we do not currently have on DealerVault. And in this case, we will be guiding them to go through DVGo. We also provide them with more information on DealerVault and the DVGo guide that I previously showed you right there in the email. So those are just a preview of what your dealership receives. You also receive notification about who we reached out to and what steps are needed when we send those notifications to the dealerships. So after 3 attempts on our end, we escalate the outreach to you, as I previously mentioned. After 10 days of not hearing anything or getting no movement, that order will be voided, but it can be resubmitted with our team once that dealership is ready to proceed. So just to summarize everything discussed today, I've outlined our best practices. So first, educating and encouraging your dealers to engage with us helps the onboarding process tremendously. The more they know about our involvement and the facilitation of their data, the more it's going to help when we begin reaching out and ultimately result in a quick turnaround of your order. If we can't get their data, and they aren't willing to work with us, that can cause delays and, as I mentioned before, cancellations. You're the ones that they have that initial agreement with, so if it comes from you that they need to work with us to get what you need to provide them with the program or services that they signed up for, the more willing they're going to be to cooperate and take action when we begin sending those notifications. Another thing that helps is monitoring your open orders. So in the vendor portal, you're going to see an open orders section. So in this open order section, you'll find the dealership that you're looking for an update for, and the dealership status is going to show you who we're waiting on action from. So whether that's the dealer or the vendor, or if the setup is in progress, so if it's a brand new dealership that completed DVGo and we're just waiting for that DMS integration, that will be listed here as setup in progress. And when there is a setup in progress status here, it is accompanied by an order ID, which will be a link to the ticket in our Zendesk portal where you will have visibility into what actions our team has taken and where we're at in that setup process. For a more detailed look, you can click on the order status details icon. And this is just going to, so the open order section is more of a bird's eye view, but you can kind of zoom in on what does dealer action needed mean? Who are we waiting for? So once you click into the order status, you will be able to see how many attempts that we've made to reach out to your dealer. The file types will be listed and what we're waiting on for specific file types. So if you have the situation where you are looking for sales and service and they only have sales set up, but service needs DVGo, it will let you know that sales is waiting for approval and service is waiting on DVGo. And any status that is listed here will also be defined right below it in the status definitions, just to let you know exactly what it is that is needed from the dealer. So knowing this information, you can kind of step in and help facilitate that with the dealer and let them know, complete the DVGo process, or you should have received an email that allows you to accept or decline the feed. So if you look in your inbox, those kind of things. So, and letting the dealer know to check their spam if they say that they didn't receive an email or whatever the situation might be, letting them know that they can check their spam to find those emails as well. And last but not least, I want to go over the contact information. And making sure that we have the most updated contact information is crucial to completing the setup. So if the person that you originally submitted is no longer at the dealership, or if you know there's a better contact, you can update that directly in the portal. And by clicking on the order details, you will enter their new information here. And once you click save, our outreach attempt does reset. So if we already exhausted the 3 attempts on that first contact, it will go back and do the 3 attempts on your new contact as well. So again, ensuring that we have the most updated information really kind of helps not put us in that, merry-go-round of people at the dealership that we're looking for to get connected with their DMS. And that was all I had for you today. I hope that you found the information provided today and the guides beneficial and will help you in onboarding your dealers moving forward. If you have any additional questions, feel free to submit a request to support@authenticom.com. Otherwise, we do have a live chat feature on our website that's monitored by all of our internal staff here at Authenticom. Also, be sure to follow us on our social media outlets to stay up to date on features and new releases and exciting stuff there. So again, thank you so much for joining us, and this webinar will close momentarily.